I call leadership the challenge to be something more than mediocre, a step up to the new challenge, the new opportunity. It was said of Abraham Lincoln that he was at his mother's bedside when she died. Her last words were, "Be somebody, Abe." And if that story is true, evidently he took it to heart and proceeded from that moment to become somebody. Now, when it comes to being a leader, if you really want to attract quality people, the key is to become a person of quality leadership. The ability to attract someone to the gifts and skills and opportunities you offer as an owner, as a manager, as a parent. I call leadership the great challenge of life in a wide variety of areas, in science, in politics, industry, and education, sales. And here's a major one of the greatest, the challenge of parenting. The greatest challenge of leadership is parenting. Not just getting our salespeople ready for the 21st century, not just getting our business colleagues ready for the 21st century, but getting our children ready for the 21st century. But now, here's what's important in leadership: refinement. All great leadership keeps working on itself until it becomes refined and effective. And here's some refinement. Learn to be strong, but not rude. This is a refinement. These are the extra steps to become a powerful, capable leader with a wide range of reach. Some people mistake rudeness for strength. It's not even a good substitute. Next, be kind but not weak. We must not mistake weakness for kindness. Kindness isn't weak. Kindness is a certain type of strength. We must be kind enough to tell somebody the truth. We must be kind enough and considerate enough to lay it on the line. We must be kind enough to tell it like it is and not deal in delusion. Next, learn to be bold, but not a bully. It does take boldness to win the day. To build your ambitions, you've got to stride out front. You've got to be willing to take the first arrow, to take the first problem, the first trouble. I think we'd all agree that farming is not an easy job. We must face the weeds and the rains and the bugs straight on. It's not an easy task, but if you want any value at harvest, you've got to press. You've got to be bold. You've got to seize it. Here's the next one. You've got to be humble, but not timid. You can't get to the high life by being timid. Some people mistake timidity for humility, but humility is a virtue. Timidity is a disease. It's an affliction. Now, it can be cured, but it is a problem. Humility is almost a godlike word, a sense of awe, a sense of wonder, an awareness of the human soul and spirit, something unique about the human drama versus the rest of life. Humility is a grasp of the distance between us and the stars, yet having the feeling that we're part of the stars. Here's a good refinement. Be proud, but not arrogant. It takes pride to win the day. It takes pride to build your ambition. It takes pride in community. It takes pride in cause, accomplishment. But the key is to be proud without being arrogant. Do you know the worst kind of arrogance? Arrogance from ignorance. It's hardly tolerable, and it can be expensive. A young newlywed couple got some money from their parents to buy a new set of patio furniture. The young couple goes to the store and picks out the perfect set. They go to the checkout, and the clerk scans the UPC code. The couple says, "Hey, there are 4 chairs in this container. You're only charging us for one?" The clerk says, arrogantly, "I know my job," she says arrogantly. "I stepped up here and scanned the container. Don't you think I know what I'm doing?" Well, the young couple tried to explain that she was wrong. The clerk wouldn't listen. The young couple got 4 beautiful patio chairs for the price of one. Now, do you think the store clerk will alter her arrogant attitude when it's time to close out her cash drawer? Probably not. Ignorant arrogance is the worst kind. If a guy's smart and arrogant, we can tolerate that. But if a guy's dumb and arrogant, that's just too much to take. And here's the next one. Humor without folly. That's important for a leader. Humor? Yes. But folly, no. In leadership, we learn it's okay to be witty, but not silly. Witty but not silly. Fun but not foolish. Next, deal in realities, deal in truth. Save yourself the agony, just accept it like it is. Life is unique. Accept it as unique. Some people call it tragic, but I'd like to think it's unique. The whole drama of life is unique, fascinating. Here are some leadership studies, and I want to give you the list first. And then we'll come back and go through this list and take them one at a time. Opportunity, ability, inevitability, and rationality. Here's the first one. Opportunity. Opportunity means springtime. To be able to recognize this is a good time, this could be the spring we've been looking for. With all of the components to make spring unique as we see it through the summer and harvest it in the fall. They seize the moment. And that's what you must do with opportunity. Seize the moment. Whether the moment might be someone you see standing there and you say, I should introduce myself and tell my story, or at least say hello and see if the window will open. A new opportunity. Seizing the moment, not letting opportunity slip away. Be a student of when it's the right time. Be a student of when this is the moment. This could be the year, the first 3 months of the next year to set up the year 2000. You say, I'm going to recognize this as a new opportunity for me to really pour it on these first 3 months. I'm calling it springtime. Putting together an artificial spring in an industrialized society, it's hard to recognize when is spring, when is summer, when is harvest. So sometimes you have to sort of manufacture a spring. Learning to recognize opportunity, be a student of opportunity. Next is ability, human ability. As we ponder and think back over as much history as you know, we've mastered what human beings have done in the last 6,000 years, and especially what human beings have done that we know more particularly about the last couple of hundred years since the birth of America, especially us who are Americans. But the last, let's say, 1,000 years of the Renaissance, walking hopefully out of the dark ages, when there was a whole burst of freedom of thought, craft, artist, genius, music, it seems like all of these unique architecture, all of these things sort of began to awaken almost simultaneously. And within a few short years, everything seemed to be bursting forth like a variety garden called the Renaissance. But that helps us to understand human ability is just incredible. Given the right moment, given the right opportunity, given the right climate, given the right season, human beings can think, create, and do the most extraordinary things. It was there, but nobody ever recognized it. It was there, but nobody offered them a helping hand, saying, come, we'll teach. Nobody offered the opportunity to say, come, we'll recognize. We will help you start. We will help you build. Not having that opportunity before, and now having it, we've watched the most extraordinary things happen. With people who seemingly others said didn't have the ability, but sure enough they did. Now it's awakened. Now, here's what I want you to discover in this study, and that is your own ability. Part of it you discover as you go, skill by skill, language by language, ability by ability. Yours can grow. You've got it. The key is to use it. Yes, you can learn to do this, but how about this? And how about the next step? And how about the next step? Don't stop. Now that you've gotten started, don't stop on your journey to study and tap and utilize your own personal ability. Here's the next one that's vitally important, and that's the study of inevitability. As leaders, we must be students of inevitability. What is inevitable? Here's a little scene. 350 from Niagara Falls in a little boat with no motor and no oars. We call this scene inevitable. It's over. If you find yourself in such an unfortunate position, it's already lost. 300 F'd from Niagara Falls. Little boat, no motor, no oars. It's over. It's already done. Even though you haven't crashed over the falls, even though that experience hasn't yet occurred, you're now in this unfortunate position, and it's called inevitable. I raise this issue because what you don't want to be caught in is in those inevitable positions where either through carelessness or whatever, rather than find yourself 300 feet from Niagara Falls, If someone would have painted the roar of the falls sufficiently for you way upstream, or maybe they had seen an experience of someone who reached that inevitable point, and then they were lost. If enough of those scenes were painted, then you probably wouldn't have been so careless to have found yourself in that position. And that's really what life is all about, learning from the experiences of others that have either witnessed or have been in these, inevitable positions where because of mistakes and because of failure and because of carelessness, they have found themselves in this inevitable position. And sure enough, it was too late. You crossed the line. We must teach our children that there are certain points in life that are inevitable. The disaster is inevitable. The heartbreak is inevitable. I learned it in economics. I found out early, you could make $5,000 a month and go broke. Way back then, $5,000 a month was a lot of money. And I used to say, how could you go broke if you made $5,000 a month? And the answer was simple. Spend $6,000. And if you're making $5,000, it's easy to spend that other $1,000 and just not realize it. It just gets away. So it is easy to go broke making $5,000 a month. Just spend $6,000. And it's inevitable. If you don't change your ways, if you don't recognize it soon enough, if somebody doesn't come along and sort of ring the alarm bells quick enough, sure enough, the inevitable will come to spend more than you make. One of my friends says, if your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep becomes your downfall. And there finally comes a point when it's inevitable. So don't find yourself there, but be a student. If I keep up my present direction, where will it take me? If I keep up my present disciplines, or where will that take me? And my lack of discipline is accumulated over some period of time, where will that lead me? If you don't get enough of this nutrient, it's inevitable over a certain period of time. And this combined with this now, it is truly inevitable. Someday too late. And unless there's some adjustment, somebody to tell the story, you say, Mary, it's inevitable. So the key is to be a student of inevitability, so that you don't find yourself in that impossible position where you've crossed the line and now it's too late. Next, and the last one, is to be a student of rationality. How to be a speed thinker. How to grasp problems and take them apart and put them back together in rapid fashion. How to ponder something and then make sure you know that it fits you. It fits your philosophy. It fits what you want to accomplish. Rationality, a very important subject to study. Learning to put things through your own mind. We are usually only going to act on something that's important if it makes sense to us. Now, sometimes what makes sense to us leaves us still a little bit short of what we should know. For the full expanse of knowledge to do a lot more things. But we can only really move as quickly as things make sense to us. Sometimes we step out by faith, but it makes sense to us to use our little faith. It makes sense to us to take a chance. It makes sense to us to make the investment first, and then hope for the harvest. But if it doesn't make sense, if it isn't rational, then we're probably not going to act. We have to learn to study our own rationality, what makes sense to us. And then here's what is. The opportunity we have is to try our best to make it make sense to somebody else. If you make the presentation in such a way that it's obvious, it's logical, I can see it. It makes sense to me. That's the way it seems to be. So we will act on that if you'll get good at that. I'm telling you, you can affect a lot of people's lives. Now here's the best rationality. We call it common sense. Humans have been given this extraordinary ability to use their brain power to come up with what we call common sense. Right? Yes, I've heard all of this, but common sense tells me that looks like that's an exaggerated story, not a real story. Common sense tells me so. Part of it is to trust your common sense, but also to be willing to expand your common sense. What seemed to be common sense, 4 or 5 years ago was a little short. Now I understand common sense is to think of it this way and this way. So this subject of rationality is vitally important. Continually looking for ways, whether it's style or content or product or presentation or understanding. Keep studying the craft to make sure you keep up with the latest, not only in the technology of developing products. So the responsibility of leadership goes all the way from the top to the bottom. And wherever you find yourself today, myself in my position here, my position as a father, you've got to be a student father if you're a mother. Congratulations. I advise you to continue being a student mother. How could you be more effective as a mother this year versus last year? What new stories could you gather that would be valuable when you have a chance to talk to your children about some specific challenges or problems? That's called continually being a student parent, because we should all continue to be students. Many of you have already become leaders, but here's the key, and that is to be a student leader. Always studying ways to make your leadership more effective, your communication more dynamic, your understanding more expansive, your compassion a little deeper, your willingness to listen, a little better, comprehending and turning it into something valuable that you can give back. That mechanism now starts to work better and better, working better as each year passes.
die.